Hi guys, Kid Massive here and welcome to my Main Room House Volume 2 tutorial in conjunction with CNTRL Samples. I've been a producer for over 10 years. I've released records on Revealed, I've released records on Strictly Rhythm, Harem, Sony Music, Spinning, you name it, I've done it. And over those 10 years, I've learned a lot about production techniques. I've learned a lot about layering sounds. I've learned a lot about sound design. And one of the things that I always go back to, which is a trademark in my sound, and I know a lot of other producers use it as well, is sampling. So what I'll be talking about today is the EXS24, which is a sampler. It's a very standard sampler. It's found in pretty much every single DAW out there. So if you are on FL Studio, or if you're in Ableton Live or in Logic, as is the case with me, they're pretty much all the same. It's a fantastic tool to enhance your presets. A lot of people nowadays are using presets as the norm, and there's nothing wrong with that. The only problem is everyone's sounds all sound the same. So how do you make yourself sound that tiny bit different? Well, what I'm going to show you is a fantastic way to fatten up your sounds. It's a fantastic way to give depth and warmth and create a sound that is totally unique. Also by adding portamento, adding a bit of reverb, a bit of delay, you can come up with some unique features which no one else has. And trust me, you're going to have all your friends going, hey, how'd you do that? Well, you know what? I'm going to show you. So kick back, watch this, check it out. I know you're going to love it. So here we go. So here I'm going to show you how the EXS24 works and just how simple it is to actually use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some samples based on the actual pack that you've got in your hand at the moment. So I'm just going to quickly add file, and I've already lined it up. So this is basically in my samples and Main Room House Volume 2, and the sound I'm going to use is from the pack called Head Rush, and I've chosen two sounds. One is the rave stab and the other one is aspire stab. So I'm simply going to click on those two, click add, and click done. Then that literally adds it over to the window here, and you can drag it in, and all of a sudden you've got your samples in your Logic window. So what I'm doing here is I don't want that whole entire sample, but what I do want is just the first sound. That one, that first stab, that's initially all I'm going to use for this one. And the same thing with the below spire sound. It's a good groove, but not what I want for this one. So as you can hear, what I've done is I've kept some of the delay at the end of the spire sound just to give it a bit of organic movement. So what I'm going to do now is, and this is very important, you need to remember, is so if you double click on this, if you look, you can see the entire spectrum of movement from the rave stab. And the thing is, if you manipulate just that one little section, you actually manipulate the whole file. So because this is essentially your master file, and you don't want to do that. What you do want to do is create a like a backup file, and that's what you're going to be using. So simply double click on it, and we're going to save selection as, and I'm going to put it on my desktop. I'm going to call it tutorial, spelled wrong, but hey, tutorial stabs. So the first one is going to be the rave stab, so I'll just save that there. And then the second one here is going to be the spire stab. Save selection as, save, done. Okay, so they have now been saved, so I can actually go in and manipulate them without actually destroying the master file. So with a bit of luck, they should be right here. There you go. Simply drag those in. By double clicking on them now, all of a sudden you can see you don't have the entire range of movement from the original sample. You've only got that little stab. So they sound like this. So very straightforward, very simple. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the fun part. So this is actually where Logic EXS24 comes into its own. So simply click stereo, open that, and then the window pops up. As you can see, there's lots of buttons and faders and all sorts, but what I'm showing you here is just very, very straightforward. So there's an edit button. You simply click on that, then that simply shows up the window, and you simply just drag and drop. You press on the top left hand corner, you close it, and you press save, and then you want to call it, you want to save it in a folder so you know, so you can come back and you've still got that sound saved up. So I'm going to call it what should I call it? Head rush stabs, and this one is going to be the spire stab. Done, and then I will do the same thing for the next one. So I'm going to open up another EXS24, click on edit again, so as you can see the window just pops up, and again drag straight in and save, close that one, click save, and it's going to take you to the folder that you've just created, and I've called this one Head Rush Stabs. So this one is the rave stab. Simply click on save, and now you're done. So I don't actually need these anymore. Get rid of these because these are audio files, and what I'm showing you now is actually not audio, it's actually MIDI. So this is the fun part. So click it open, and as you see here, so this is where the spire stab is loaded up. So just by playing your MIDI keyboard, you should be able to play around with it. And the same thing goes for the rave stab. So as you can see, using the EXS24 is so simple and so easy. It is literally just drag and drop. And one of the great things about this is the fact that you can take any sample that you've loaded up, and if you can change it to the keynote of your original track, it is literally just pitch it so it fits. And this is one of the reasons why people like Kanye West and the Swedish House Mafia have adopted this technique and are using it today in their studios. So what I've done here already is I've just created a very simple MIDI groove, very, very simple, just plays a very straightforward melody. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you how you can manipulate the a bit of groove, a bit of movement, a bit of glide, a bit of portamento into the to the sound. So as you can hear there, the bottom note does sound a bit deep, so what I'm simply going to do is I'm just going to go into transition, pull it up 12. There you go, got a great groove on that. Just by moving the glide, all of a sudden you've got a lot more movement. And what I did here, so this is actually the release. So the release, if you have it all the way down at short, it's basically how long the played sample is. And as you recall, there was actually a tiny bit of delay that I left over on the spire stab, and I did that on purpose. So by playing it with the release in short, it's very stabby, which is great, but I do want that delay at the end. It just gives it that tiny bit more flow and a bit more movement, and then by adding the glide pitch to it as well, you're getting yourself into seriously funky sound mode. And I'm just simply going to duplicate that and put that into the rave stab sound, and I'll do exactly the same thing here. So I'll close that. I think that just opens up the stabs, the sounds a bit more, and actually makes it sound a bit more like an actual synth rather than something that you've sampled. So by playing the two together, And then by adding just a very, very simple echo delay. I love this echo delay. I think it's brilliant. Hey presto, you've actually got yourself a lead synth which is yours and no one else's. So as you can see, using the EXS24 sampler to create main room sounds and to manipulate sounds is incredibly easy. So I would advise you to start doing it straight away. Make sure you check out CNTRLSamples.com for their entire back catalogue of amazing products. I use them in pretty much everything that I do. Or you can find their brand new releases on beatportsounds.com. My name's Kid Massive, thank you so much for tuning in, and yeah, catch me next time on the next tutorial. See you later, guys.